I will set the stage for what is at stake in the Divisional National Football League playoffs. And we start with the first game. If it's the Houston Texans, they kick off a playoff weekend. And the Houston Texans are heading into Arrowhead Stadium to try and one and done the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, before the season, when everything was as healthy as possibly can be, as we all know, Stephon Diggs, they lost him midseason. The last time they were on Arrowhead, the Saturday before Christmas, they lost Tank Dell for the rest of the season. Tank was having a heck of a day when he got hurt. And we know before the season, when everyone was healthy, we were talking about who's the team in the AFC that could actually stop the Chiefs from making it out of the AFC. And sure, the usual suspects were mentioned. The Houston Texans had a full-on bandwagon then. And here they are on this divisional Saturday to go ahead and do it anyway, even without those two receivers that I mentioned. What they do have is a heck of a defense. And what they need to do is come up with the first divisional playoff win in the history of the Houston Texans. They are 0-5 in the divisional playoff round, including their last visit to Arrowhead when they were up 24-0 and then lost 51-31. And while they are 0-5 in the history of the divisional playoff round, Patrick Mahomes is 6-0 in the divisional playoff round. If he beats the Houston Texans, he would tie Joe Montana for the second most divisional playoff weekend wins with 7, half of Tom Brady's career total of 14. He would make a 7th straight AFC Championship game. The Texans have never played in the AFC Championship game. Travis Kelce is out there for Patrick Mahomes. He's the active leader in receiving yards. And not only does Mahomes have the active leader in receiving yards at his disposal in this game, he's got the second active leading receiver in receiving yards in this game. His name is DeAndre Hopkins going against the Houston Texans, and he was in a Texans uniform on the day. They were up 24-0. And then Travis Kelce had 3 consecutive touchdown grabs from Patrick Mahomes to start the comeback. And of DeAndre Hopkins' 12,965 receiving yards, 8,602 of them came as a Houston Texan. So he's going against the Texans, trying to get the Chiefs back to the AFC Championship game. And the Texans are coming in with a terrific defense to try and one and done the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the first ever playoff matchup between the reigning Super Bowl MVP quarterback and the reigning Offensive Rookie of the Year quarterback. It is fascinating in so many different ways. And oh, by the way, the chance to three-peat is on the line. And if the Chiefs win this football game, they will go one step further than the team that attempted a three-peat the last time the New England Patriots lost in the divisional round of the 2005 playoffs. That's what's at stake in Arrowhead Stadium when the weekend kicks off. Then comes the night game. The Detroit Lions taking on the Washington Commanders. TJ Jefferson, I'm going to do you a solid.
Oh, please.
Because we keep talking about how long it's been since the Dallas Cowboys last made an NFC championship game.
Yeah, we do.
They don't even lead the division in the longest such drought.
Oh, I know.
That belongs to the Washington Commanders football team and Redskins. 32 seasons and counting for this franchise. That is the longest drought in the National Football League. Forget about the NFC East. But they have a dynamic young quarterback who personifies the mantra that I mentioned the Commanders have in these playoffs more than any other team. Why not us? 6th seed. They went from 2nd overall to the 6th seed, and Jaden Daniels one and done Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And what can he do in these playoffs, you wonder? He's already set 4 records for a rookie quarterback. First to lead a team in passing and rushing yards in a playoff win. First with 2 or more passing touchdowns in a road playoff win. First with 200 or more passing yards in a road playoff win. First to win on the road when the opponent scores more than 20 points or 20 points in that playoff game. In sight in Detroit, he can become the first rookie quarterback to defeat a scoring offense that's number 1 that he's going against. He would be the first to defeat 2 or more top 5 scoring offenses in the playoffs. He would be the first rookie quarterback to ever defeat 2 number 1 overall drafted quarterbacks in the playoffs. And he would be the first potentially to have 2 or more games with 300 or more total yards in the game. He is unbelievable. And Bobby Wagner, going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame later on, he's going to be taking on Sonic and Knuckles, because Knuckles is coming back for the Detroit Lions offense that is number 1 scoring in the NFL. And this is what's at stake for the Detroit Lions. Not to be one and done, because they just came off of the most successful regular season in the history of their franchise. As a matter of fact, it's more than just this year. Over the last 2 seasons, the Detroit Lions have won 27 football games, including the playoffs. From 2018 to 2022, the franchise won just 26. 27 in the last 2, 26 in the previous 4. That's what's happening there. And for them to follow up their breakout season last year with a 15-win regular season and the first ever 1 seed in the history of their franchise, only the second time they've ever come off of a bye week in the playoffs. For them to come in and make the NFC Championship game and tell everybody in Ford Field, we'll see you next week, and be a little bit more of a spot-on prophecy soothsayer than telling Kevin O'Connell, we'll see you in 2 weeks, that would be quite a feat for Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions against an upstart team in the Washington Commanders. For them to say to Washington, nice stuff you've got going on there, not yet, in the same way that the Niners told them that last year, or the rest of the NFL was telling the Lions the year before, not yet. That's what's at stake in the Saturday night game. Then comes Sunday, when the Eagles and Rams take the field, and we'll know if the Commanders win Saturday night, this game is for the right to host the NFC Championship game. That's what could be at stake on Sunday when the Rams and the Eagles take on one another. Nick Sirianni has 51 wins in his first 4 years as head coach in Philadelphia. The only one with more wins in his first 4 years as an NFL head coach, George Seifert, after he took over the Bill Walsh 49ers. Saquon Barkley and this offense, we were wondering how he would plus up this team that Sirianni now hands things off to Kellen Moore. We all remember last year there was some issues for Sirianni with Kellen Moore, with the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, to hand things off, and things go so well on offense and defense for him is a testament to how the Eagles turned it around. But having Saquon do his thing is something else. And the Rams know what he can do. It's something else, as he came out with just the 4th 300-plus scrimmage yard game by a running back in the history of the Super Bowl era in a Week 12 win against the Los Angeles Rams on a Sunday night at home, in which, by the way, I know whose house it is apparently in L.A., but I was there that night, and there was a lot of green, and they were going absolutely insane. And now they've got the actual home game in their back pocket. It's the first time the Eagles have hosted a wild card and divisional playoff round in the same playoff season ever. The Eagles have never done this. They're going to attempt to do it. Well, they're going to do it against the Los Angeles Rams, and their actual fans will be in the stands. And Jared Verse doesn't care. That's what's so cool about these Rams, is the young kids don't care. Jared Verse had this to say to the Los Angeles Times about the Eagles fan base. TJ Jefferson, this is why I said you're going to love Jared Verse more than you already do. I will read it off the screen. Quote, I hate Eagles fans.
Yeah.
They're so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Eagles fans. He said it again. I didn't even do nothing to him. It was my first time playing. Oh, I hate Eagles fans. When I see that green and white, I hate it. I actually get upset, like I actually genuinely get hot.
Yes.
And
Yes,
this
Jared Verse.
stout front seven that sacked Sam Darnold 9 times in the wild card playoff win in Arizona because of what's going on here in Los Angeles. That's the team that's going to be rolled downhill against Philadelphia. And after Jared Verse and that defense got torched by Saquon Barkley, and also A.J. Brown had a 100-yard receiving game as well. I didn't see a book on the sideline as he was, booking down the field against them. But the Rams haven't lost a game with Matthew Stafford starting since. Matthew Stafford, after that game, won 5 in a row and then sat that Week 18 loss and then came back and won the playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. That is the longest winning streak of Matthew Stafford's career.
What?
Yes. 6 in a row. And guess who's also on the sideline for this team? Sean McVay. With a win, he ties John Madden for the most playoff wins, under 45. And McVay turns 45 in 2031. Matthew Stafford, 19-3 after November since joining the Los Angeles Rams. Oh, baby. This one is going to be a ton of fun. And Jared Verse has laid down his marker walking into Lincoln Financial on Sunday. I can't wait for this one. But then comes the finale of the divisional playoff weekend. OMG. Bills, Ravens. Since choosing Josh Allen 7th overall in the 2018 National Football League draft, the Bills have won 83 times. And then we all know 32nd overall, Ozzie Newsome left, I guess what, a prodigal baby in a basket on the doorstep of the Ravens before he left. He drafted Lamar Jackson, moving into the first round in his final draft.
The Baltimore Manger.
Pretty much. The Ravens have won 81 times since that day. And it's on, man. It is absolutely on. First ever playoff matchup in NFL history between quarterbacks who had 40 or more touchdowns and fewer than 10 giveaways in a regular season. This has never happened. The Bills and the Ravens, 2 highest scoring offenses in the American Football Conference this year. Lamar Jackson in 2024 has an MVP case. He's already got 2 of them in an actual case. Lamar Jackson in 2024 has an MVP case. Lamar in 2024 coming into this playoff game. First player in NFL history with 40 or more passing touchdowns and fewer than 5 interceptions. First player in NFL history with 4,000 or more passing yards and 800 or more rushing yards. A passer rating of 119.6. That's the 4th highest in the history of the NFL and a first-team All-Pro. The first-team All-Pro quarterback has won the MVP the last 11 times. Josh Allen is the first player with 25 or more passing touchdowns and 10 or more rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. Remember that one against the Niners in the snow in a season? In Week 13, he became the first quarterback in NFL history to do that, passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in a game. The next week, he became the first player with 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns in a game. That was in Los Angeles. And then the week after that, first player with 2 or more passing touchdowns or 2 or more rushing touchdowns in consecutive games. That's when he boat raced the Lions. Now these 2 teams play each other. The Bills have lost in the divisional round the last 3 seasons. Buffalo is the only second undefeated team in the AFC at home this year. They're 9-0. Kansas City didn't lose at home either. And the winner wants to go to Arrowhead if the Texans lose and try and make sure the Chiefs don't make it back to the Super Bowl and go for a three-peat. Oh, and by the way, that's right. Derrick Henry's in this game. And this shot that we have on the screen.
I'm scared just looking
at
at it.
We have been putting on the screen to give you the word picture. The actual photograph we're showing is him bug-eyed running down the field at you. It's nightmare fuel. It's nightmare fuel for a defender. This was when he ran for 87 yards for a touchdown against the Bills in Week 4 in a 35-10 blowout. But the Bills are getting some players back on defense, or have gotten players back on defense since then. Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard, Taron Johnson were not in that game in Week 4. They will be playing on Sunday night to make sure Lightning McQueen does not get out on that highway. And they are the ones to move on. The Buffalo Bills' dream season, in which a lot of people, including raising my hand, I may have culpated this a while ago. Maybe when the Bills clinched the AFC East, I said they weren't going to win with 5 weeks to go. Everybody thought Allen didn't have the weapons to do it, and he comes into this game with 13 different Buffalo Bills having caught a touchdown pass in 2024. That's tied for the most all time with the 2020 version of the Bills that did make it to the AFC Championship game. Oh, man. This is always what is at stake. One of the best quarterback seasons ever for both of these quarterbacks will end in defeat on Sunday. Who will it be, and who will move on, and who has a chance to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC that could feature a team still alive in a three-peat attempt? And if the Texans do end the Chiefs' three-peat attempt, this game would be for the right to host the AFC Championship game. And that is my open on divisional playoff weekend.
Oh, I'm fired up. Let's go. Come on.
Gents?
Very good.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, you hit the Jared Verse nail on the head, Rich. Like, that was an amazing quote. That was almost like green eggs and ham to me. And I actually, if I could, I reworked it a little bit. If I could give this to you.
Oh,
Jared
sure.
Verse.
Okay.
I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. Here's a fact you can disperse. I hate Eagles fans, says Jared Verse.
Attaboy, TJ. Well done.
I feel the same way.
You know, if only Jack played on the Eagles, right? Green football and ham. I don't know. Just trying to go somewhere. Good one.
Let's go.
Jared Verse.
We're back.
Throwing down the marker of hating the fans that are going to be surrounding him in full throat on Sunday.
You're right. I like him even more.
While Saquon plays a divisional playoff game for only the second time in his career. And by the way, the last one was in Philadelphia. That didn't go very well. At all. That was the washout of Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. And now Saquon's wearing green with a chance to maybe host the NFC Championship game. Can't wait. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.